Good evening. Welcome to tonight's episode of How to Heal When You Have to Deal. Good evening. Welcome to tonight's episode of How to Heal When You Have to Deal. Tonight, our subject of discussion is going to be taking time for self-care makes me feel guilty. This is something that came up in discussion between Peggy and I a day or two ago when we realized that even though we've been doing a lot and both of us have been really putting in a lot of time and a lot of energy into the work that we do and the people that we serve, simply trying to take a little bit of time for ourselves while still knowing that there were things to be done was hard. And so we thought that this would be something good to talk about. In our daily lives, in our daily routines, we have lots of things that we need to do. We have house cleaning that constantly needs to be done, because by the time that you finish going through and vacuuming and sweeping and dusting and doing the dishes and running the laundry and folding the laundry and putting it away and changing the sheets on your bed and cleaning the bathroom and so on and so forth, it's time to start over again. Doesn't matter how quickly you do it, doesn't matter how often you do it. By the time that you're done running through that whole list, you can easily start on that list again and just keep on going and going and going. And that's dangerous for us as humans. It's really dangerous. We need time to replenish our bodies. We need time to replenish our brains. We need time to replenish our spirit. And if we don't take that time, it will catch up to us. When we're going on a trip somewhere, let's say we're doing a road trip down to California from Washington State, where I am right now. I know that I'm going to need to build in time. I'm going to need to build in time to stop and get gas in the car. Because if I don't keep gas in the car's not going to keep going. I know that I'm going to need time to stop at a rest area along the way. Probably multiple rest areas with that long of a trip. And I'm going to need to get out and I'm going to need to stretch. And if we have our little dogs with us, I'm going to need to let them out and let them stretch and let them go potty and do all of that. It would be very remiss of me not to build in time to have some meals along the way. Quite often with long road trips, what you'll do is, even if you have multiple drivers, you're going to build in time to stop, stay at a hotel, maybe use the spa, maybe use the hot tub or go swimming, maybe go to a restaurant nearby, have some downtime, let yourself sleep in a bed rather than simply switching out drivers and keeping on going. When there's urgency to where you're trying to get to, you may push some of these things. You may grab a meal at a drive-through and keep pushing on in order to make sure that you get to your destination in the time that you need to. But with a typical road trip, we're going to stop. We're going to take that time and we're going to build it in when we're figuring out how long it's going to take us to get there. We need to do that in our daily lives as well. If you are working outside your home, you go to work, you deal with the things that are there, you have certain things that are built in. Washington state law, I can't speak to other states, but Washington state law says that there need to be certain mandatory paid breaks, that you need to be offered an unpaid break if you work for so many hours in a day. As well, if you are working for longer than an expected amount of time, sometimes in a day, sometimes in a week, then your employer is required to compensate you for that in terms of additional monies. These are all things that are built into our system at this point in order to assure that we can take care of our basic needs in order to ensure that we can continue to operate at a higher function than if we drive ourselves without taking those breaks. But at home, we don't have those mandatory breaks. We don't have a requirement that after so many hours of housework, you have to take a break. We don't have at home that if you've worked 8 hours at your outside of the home job and you come home and there are things to do, you can only go so long before you stop to have dinner, before you stop to sit on the couch, before you stop to talk to your partner, your family, your kids, your friends, whoever it may be. At home, we're responsible for ourselves. We need to ensure that we're taking care of our needs. This can be really difficult, especially in times of stress, because we want to get things done. We want to feel as if we're accomplishing things and not have them hanging over our heads for later. So how do we change our mindset on that? How do we change our mindset to allow ourselves to take some of those breaks, to require of ourselves that we bring in time for refreshment of our bodies, for refreshment of our brains, for refreshment of our spirit? Well, some of the ways that we can do that is through scheduling. When I was in school as an adult, I had gone back and I was working a job full-time, and I was also trying to manage my household and go to school. And so I had a daily calendar that I would pull out. And in my little daily calendar, and it was a paper one, and unfortunately I don't have an example. I was looking around, but in that daily calendar, I would put in that, okay, from this time to this time, I'm going to be working. And then from this time to this time, I need to go to class. And from this time to this time, I need to tackle homework and papers and assignments that were needed. And from this time to this time, I had other obligations, with my kids, with sports that I was playing, that type of thing. And so what I started doing as a way to force myself to take that downtime is that I would schedule into majority of days anywhere from 30 to 60 minutes that was free time. And during that free time, I made a commitment to myself that I wouldn't bleed over my homework. If I didn't get my homework done and didn't get that paper finished in the time that I had allotted, I needed to take that free time, and then I could come back to it if I needed to. If I had housework that needed to be done, laundry or cleaning or whatever it might be, I didn't allow that during that free time. That free time was for me to go take a walk. That free time was for me to read a book. That free time was for me to make personal phone calls if I wanted to. But I built it in just as with my job, I was building things into my calendar. So that's one technique that you could use. Another thing that you could do is to simply make rather than a daily plan of what you're going to be tackling around the house, make a weekly plan. And that allows you then that, okay, hey, on Monday and Tuesday, I put in a lot of time. So on Wednesday evening, I'm going to let myself not do some of those household chores. I'm going to let myself hold off. Those dishes will still be there on Thursday, and I can tackle them then. There's not an urgency to a lot of the chores that we fill our time with. We feel that urgency because we'd like for them to be done. We'd like to not have them. But if we make that promise to ourselves that we're going to come back and accomplish those things in the future, we can then start to transform our brain so that we can enjoy the free time, so that we can allow our bodies, our minds, our spirits to refresh. If you have some other ideas on how to accomplish that, we would love to hear them, and we'll be happy to share them on our website. and our Facebook, more specifically. If you'd like some more ideas, please check in with us, or you can email me, nathan@raysofhopellc.org, and I'd be happy to share some other tips or techniques or help you to overcome some of those challenges around how to require yourself to do that self-care without feeling the guilt. I hope this helps, and I hope that you are taking care of yourself and that you're refreshing yourself, that you're connecting with the people in your lives, family, friends, and your community. Thank you so much for watching. We appreciate you. This has been Nathan Ray for Rays of Hope, How to Heal When You Have to Deal.